Hello everyone, I'm the FC, this is Blue Lions TV. Welcome to another 5 talking points video after our 2-0 win against Man City. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Hazard playing in the false 9 position. I'm going to be talking about Kante, Luiz and Azpi. And I'm also going to be talking about whether Sarri is adapting his system and style to suit the team. But you guys, if you like the content I bring to you, smash that like button. Help me get more than 500 likes for today's video. And press the bell notification button as well to stay tuned to all things Blue Lions TV. And starting with the first talking point, that's in regards to Hazard being used as a false 9 and a strikerless front 3. Now, against Man City, I don't think anyone expected us to use a strikerless front 3, even though it made a lot of sense in the end. Now, Sarri has hinted at using this possible front 3 against Tottenham, where we played with Willian, Pedro and Hazard for about 10-15 minutes. And if you ask my opinion, I feel like this is going to be the go-to front 3 Sarri uses whenever we play against big teams. He doesn't trust Morata. It's not a surprise to anyone, and it should not be a surprise at all that the club want to sell him and they want him to go. And when it comes to Olivier Giroud, let's be serious. He's the type of substitution you bring on in the final 5 or 10 minutes. Now, did these guys perform against Man City? Yes, they did. But there's still many interesting talking points from the use of this front 3, and I feel like it's going to be a constant debate throughout the entire season. Now, of course, the benefits of using the front 3 is the fact that you can use Pedro and Willian together. Willian can play on his best side, which is the left-hand side, where he's able to play on his stronger foot, where he can cut inside, take shots, and you really see his abilities more down the left-hand side. And with Pedro offers us what we need exactly down the right-hand side. His ability to use his left foot. He's also able to make those runs in behind, which Willian just isn't able to do. But the main benefit you get from using Willian and Pedro out wide is the fact that the fullbacks get better defensive support. Now, Hazard is the best player in the league, but he's very poor defensively. And he's not going to help Alonso down that left-hand side. He doesn't get tight enough. But with someone like Willian, who's able to then carry the ball from greater distances, and it just plays towards the guy's winger-like strengths. And when Pedro plays down that right-hand side, not only does he help out defensively, but also he provides the outlet down the right-hand side, which they desperately need to help beat the opposition press. And this was why our right-hand side against Man City was the best that we've seen from that side this season. Now, the only issue is Eden Hazard. Now, let's not forget, the guy played an incredibly selfless role against Man City. His movement was excellent, and of course, low-key performance in that sense, but the guy got 2 assists. Obviously, the most decisive moments came from Hazard. But as you all know by now, I'm constantly saying this, Sarri likes to use poachers in his team. If you're using Hazard up front, you're basically saying that, you know what, you're not going to touch the ball as much. Now, of course, there is context towards this. We're playing against Man City. So, of course, it is going to be natural that he's going to touch the ball even less. But the main issue is that, can we really afford for Hazard not to touch the ball as much? It's going to be interesting. I think when it comes to playing against big teams, we have to use Hazard up front. But of course, you're lacking when you're not playing him in his best position. It gets you thinking, imagine if Alonso had Hazard down that left-hand side more. We'd be able to beat the press even more. He'd completely destroy Kyle Walker. And I think Hazard himself would feel that he's put in a great performance against a top team. Now, I do have an interesting theory in which maybe Sarri could possibly use Hazard up front, but really adapt him to the team. And that was if Sarri decided to use a false 9. Now, a lot of times people throw around false 9 way too easily, but I'm sorry. False 9 implies that the guy's going to drop deeper into midfield in the playmaking positions to get on the ball and help start attacks. We're not using Hazard like that. The guy was playing like a striker, kind of like a target man where, he's controlling balls on the ground instead of in the air. But what if Sarri adapted the system to really create the use of a false 9? In that way, it's going to be the best of both worlds, because we know that Hazard's fantastic in those central areas. If he's getting on the ball as well, that's going to play to his strengths because he likes to touch the ball a lot. Do I think that Sarri might try to adapt things? Well, Sarri's shown that he is willing to adapt when he needs to. I think that it could be a very interesting tactical decision by him. Of course, it wouldn't be like this for every single game, but for certain games, who knows? But my main point is, if Hazard is playing in that traditional false 9 role, that could really get the best out of him because he's got fantastic finishing, fantastic movement. He's able to collect the ball deeper. He can beat a press, he can play people in. I don't know, I feel like he could really play up to that Messi-like role. But in the comment section below, give me your thoughts and opinions. Do you think that Sarri should try to adapt how we do things tactically in the sense that he uses a false 9? Let me know below. Now for the second talking point, I need to talk about David Luiz. Now, you guys all saw my tweet. Put some respect on Luiz's name. Now, he was phenomenal against Man City. I think it was one of his best performances in a Chelsea shirt. I mean, the way he was able to help beat the press from Man City with his incredible passing. And, you know, in the match review, I kept comparing him to Laporte and Stones. How many times did they both try to play that long through ball or that long ball to the wide areas? And they constantly kept messing it up every single time. But compare that to Luiz. He was rarely doing that. And that's the type of benefit that he brings to the team. Now, I know what people's argument is, but David Luiz, yes, he is a good player, but he's all about his passing, or, David Luiz is a good player, but he's not consistent enough. But this is where context comes into play, and as I've been stressing so often recently, most of the defensive issues have come down to the fact that the wide areas have been weak, meaning that our defenders are forced to move out wide to try and accommodate the spaces left and behind from our fullbacks. And let's be serious, defenders have evolved in the modern game. They're not as defensively superior as they might used to be back in the day. And what I mean by that is, well, if a defender has to, drop wide to win a ball, he's very comfortable. These days, I feel that defenders are much better in the central areas. I mean, look at Stones and Laporte when we played them. I mean, how many times, whenever they had to leave their position to close down Hazard or Pedro, they kept giving away fouls. How many times were they winning the ball back consistently? But no one's going to talk about that because they don't have any negative stigma on their names. But unfortunately, David Luiz still has this negative stigma. It seems like it's never going to go. People are forgetting how incredibly important he was when we won the title under Kante. And I found it so crazy that his role was just dismissed as being, having support around him in guys like Azpi and Cahill. He is the leader in the team. He helps us play out from the back. I mean, we've all seen the highlights. We've all watched the game again. Look how impressive we were when it came to beating Man City and beating their press. Now, you can't do that if you don't have David Luiz. Christensen wouldn't have done that. Cahill most definitely wouldn't have done that. And this is the exact reason as to why Sarri is constantly praising David Luiz. Too often people look at the effects instead of understanding and thinking about the cause. Remember, we press from the top. That means that our defending starts from our strikers. Our defense is literally the last line that should be broken. If it does get broken, it means that other players haven't done their job. I feel like we need to respect this guy. He's been an incredible servant for the club. How many times does he perform in the top games as well? Yes, let's be serious. When he's forced out wide, he's not going to win every single ball. I mean, look at how defenders tackle these days. It's about going in hard and fast to win the ball back quickly. I guess when you play as a fullback, you need to have ball variety in which you win the ball. Luiz just isn't going to do that, but that shouldn't be held against him because you should be realizing in your heads you shouldn't even be out wide in the first place. The minute you see any of our defenders pushing out wide, it means that the team haven't been doing their job. Let's stop scapegoating this guy consistently. I saw that ridiculous video on Twitter about how he's been at fault for 67% of our goals, completely missing the entire point. Let's respect David Luiz, put some respect on his name. For the third talking point, I want to talk about Azpilicueta. Now, this was Azpi's best game this season against Man City, and he really reminded me, I have to admit, he reminded me that the guy is a world-class fullback defensively, back in his own half. The way he controlled Sane, it kind of reminded me of when Ashley Cole was up against Cristiano Ronaldo. He was completely in his pocket, and I was really hoping that Azpi was going to tap his shorts to let the team know that Sane is in his pocket. He got so tight, he won the ball back so quickly, and that's the Azpilicueta you can rely on because Azpi loves to get tight to people. And I personally feel now the reason why we've seen Azpi struggling, even defensively sometimes, is that because he's more exposed in the wide areas, I kind of feel like he's doubting himself. And I kind of think that doubt comes from the fact that he knows that if he gets tight and doesn't win the ball, he's got no protection behind him. And I feel that when he has guys playing closer with him, or he has defensive support from Kante or the winger dropping deep, he feels more confident in his game knowing that if I miss it, someone's going to cover me and I'll be able to recover and get back in position. And again, it links to my first point of this video. If we use a strikerless front three where you've got Willian and Pedro coming deeper, we become more defensively solid. And always remember this in football. To get the best out of your team, you want your players to complement each other, their strengths and their weaknesses. And against Man City, we most definitely saw this. Now moving into the fourth talking point, that's in regards to Sarri and him showing that yes, he is willing to adapt. Now after that game, people kept making the comparison that Sarri used Kante's tactics and that, you know, he really did change up his entire system, and really, that's not painting the full picture. Now, the fundamentals in which we're supposed to play in the system were still the same. It's just that the way in which we were pressing was very different, and that makes a lot of sense. Now, Sarri's constantly kept saying that the team's not ready, and what he's saying that the team isn't ready to take on Man City pressing very high. That makes a lot of sense, and I find it kind of funny and ironic because a lot of people have been criticizing Sarri for not having a plan B, but against Man City, he showed exactly that. Yes, he is capable of having a plan B, and it works. And I really wish in football that if people make comments like that and they're wrong, why can't they just admit to being wrong? It's okay to make a mistake, it's okay to learn from it, it's not a big deal, but they never address anything. Now, as I was saying, the only thing that changed in this system was the fact that our pressing was different. Instead of pressing very high, we used a mid-block system where we like to press around the halfway line, but the fundamentals of the system were the same. We were drawing Man City onto us, beating their press to create those quick vertical passing options for our front three. But what Sarri did in particular to really help us even more was the fact that one of their game plans was to isolate Man City's fullbacks. Now with Delph, he is a midfielder, he's not the greatest defensively, and you know that with guys like Sane, he's not necessarily going to drop deep to help him out. And this is why our right hand side was so key, and Sarri took a massive tactical gamble to attack down that side, and he really made it quite easier for the front three. For example, look at Eden Hazard. He constantly kept making runs to that right hand side, and what that did was it forced a Man City defender to follow him. That then helped us create overloads against Delph down that right hand side. And the other key thing which we did see for the first goal was the fact that it allows the opposite winger to go 1v1 against Man City's fullback, and that's what we saw with Willian and Kyle Walker. Now that first goal came from keeping the ball down the right hand side, quickly switching it, and having Willian versus Kyle Walker. And to really prove that Sarri's always been adaptable, Pep himself stated that he was surprised that we played like this against them. For some reason, he expected us to press very high, and I don't know, I mean, you guys saw my match preview. I was stating that I felt that we were going to use a mid-block tactic against them. It made a lot of sense. And really, to end this point, all I can say again is, this is why we believe in the process. It takes patience. Let's not be so entitled and reactionary every single time. Mistakes will most likely come again in the future, but that Man City game showed us that we're moving in the right direction. And to end with the final point, I need to talk about N'Golo Kante and why Sarri's always been right all along to use him in midfield in this position. And it feels kind of funny, and this is why it's never good to be reactionary, because most times when you are, you get called out for it again in the future because you end up being wrong. Now Sarri was constantly getting critiqued for not playing Kante as a DM, but I've always felt that it's such a big disrespect to Kante because it really shows you how little of his game you respect. The number one thing with Kante is the guy is a real footballer, and you can't have him sacrificing his game playing a dumbed down role just to win a few tackles at the back. Now, I felt that this was Kante's best ALLAN-like performance against Man City. You know, with ALLAN at Napoli, he's able to win possession of the ball, create those late runs in the box, create shots on goal as well. Plus, he helps out defensively a lot down that right hand side. And you can see with Kante, you know, with Sarri really critiquing him about staying close with Jorginho to keep that balance down that right hand side. He proved that against Man City, and this is why the critique was deserved, because Kante learned from that and he really proved himself to Sarri and showed, yes, I can adapt, I am learning, and I'm only gonna get better. I mean, it was just a great performance. I mean, he got a goal, broke up the play how many times, really helped us beat the press down Man City's right hand sides. And I've always made this comparison with him and Michael Essien, and I've said that if Kante continues to improve in an offensive role, he can develop into a Michael Essien, and I think he has that in his locker. You're starting to see that now, and just think to yourself, wow, he's doing this against Man City. The guy's only gonna get better. But anyway, you guys, that's gonna bring an end to today's 5 talking points video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This week is going to be such a jam-packed week. I've got so many exclusive news videos to break to you guys. Honestly, the only worry I have now is if I have all the time before the press start reporting on it. Sometimes I wish I had an editor because, it really helped with the workflow. It gets hard doing everything by yourself, but bear with me. Next week, I'm going to do my best to release every single video. You guys, thank you for watching and supporting me. I'm the EFC. This is Blue Lines TV. Signing out.